everyone. Mary at Espresso Press Design. Thank you for visiting. We're on the third tag series, and today is buttons and ribbons. Don't forget buttons and ribbons. First, shout out and show and tell. Shout out this week to some customers. Thank you for visiting my shops and thank you for shopping. Elke, Suzette, Susan, Martella, and Emily. Thank you very much. I appreciate your purchasing from my stores very much. And I also appreciate you for visiting here on YouTube, watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. It means a lot. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here talking to myself. So, another tag book, my final one, I think. I don't know how well these are going to sell, but I thought they were cute, simple. And this is a mix of papers. One from a paper pad and one from a sheet from Joann's, but I thought they went well enough together. And these will be a little play on what we're going to do today. Love dots. Love the colors. This time I actually put some of the sentiment ephemera in here in lieu of stickers or something else. So that was another one. And then some of the ones I'm going to do, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to get you started. And I'll probably put them in a little tag envelope pocket like this, because my tag box is getting full and I don't need any more tags. So again, I'm doing these smaller just because if they go in another book or something else, these are more gift tag size. So ribbons, I guess I'll start there. This is a dual. Don't forget that you can put your a different type of hole, and if you know me, you know I'm not really a ribbon fan. Sari silk is fine, lace is okay, but I don't particularly like ribbons. So when I saw this, add a bead and then keep it closed, you know, it keeps it the bulk of the ribbon keeps the bead from sliding off. I thought that was super cute. Don't forget paper beads. I didn't have a paper bead to match this, so I didn't do a paper bead, but don't forget paper beads. And you can do that in a center hole as well and just pop a little bead on there. And there you have it. And then this one is a shank button. I don't have a lot of cool shank buttons. But what you would do is you would poke your hole, put your shank through there, tie a knot in your shank until it won't go through the hole, or do as I did, a little series of knots, and then you would put a little dab of glue to keep that button from coming out the front. So don't forget your shank buttons. You can use those. Buttons in general, don't forget buttons. That's the, get your fancy buttons. Use those. They look lovely. Okay, pop that on there, I guess. Don't forget your fancy buttons. Any kind of buttons. And then this one I'm calling my little cigarette wrapper. You can take, this is just some little torn paper, and I wrapped it around a piece of lace and glued it. And that's another closure for your fabric or paper strip or whatever you want to put through the hole up there, or ribbon, silk, whatever. But that's, I'm calling that my little cigar wrapper type ribbon enhancement, I guess I would call it. And then finally, I was going to do another one on shapes, but that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to do that. My final one is probably the next one, and it's going to be some special tags inspired from jewelry. But don't forget different shapes. I used my tag punch. It screwed up the tag, so I had to chop it off. So I just turned it into a little tea bag. Don't forget, you can do different things on the ends of your string as in a signature thread type idea. So don't forget, you can put some little hearts there, you could put circles, you could put little pictures, whatever, stamps, attach them to your string. You can also do beads on your string, of course. You can put a little bead on the top of that string. Paper beads, don't forget your paper beads. I love paper beads. I would add paper beads. So today, I'm just going to wrap this up by, I just got a bunch of scraps in, kind of similar colors. I didn't even care. These are scrappy. Got a bunch of scraps and made some tags. So I'm just going to pop these on here, and then I'm going to show you the button. These I do not like. If you have, I do not like the scale of these. So I think this is 1.5, this is 1, and this is 5/8. If I had a 1.25, that would be much better. And I'm sure this would probably look better if it was on a larger tag. It might not bother me as much. But I'm not loving the scale of these 3 circles together, so I want you to keep that in mind. But I'll try to make it work regardless. And I also, my dies weren't cooperating either, because they're either the same size or end up being the same scale, and I wanted circles. I didn't want any flower shape. I really have to buckle down and get a gradated set of scallop punches. That would really make my life so much easier. Punches are so much easier than die cutting. I hate losing that flower, but oh well, I'm gonna lose it. And then, okay, you're gonna put this, normally this would be touching the top, but I'm going to move it down because I'll probably end up putting in another little hole above it so I can put a string for a gift tag. So that's what I'm going to do, but normally that would be at the top. Okay, and then I would pop a little button on there. So this week is this is very simple. But this is just to remember buttons and different things to do with ribbon. So I hope you're all doing well. Oops. Oh well, I guess I better do that then. Didn't mean to do that. Went out yesterday for photo day. The weather said 90% chance of rain. Checked the weather before I left, and the radar was saying rain. Got over there, not a drop. And it was so warm that whatever rain there was, which was pretty much off and on, had evaporated. So we went in a cafe, had some tea, had a dessert, and waited, and then finally I gave up. Just walked around, scouted some different locations, looked for puddles, because what I wanted, I'm going to post one picture. Didn't get anything to write home about, that's for sure. I'm going to post one picture, but I always try to have an idea before I head out, because otherwise you're just wandering around taking photos, and then you get so overwhelmed sometimes that you don't know what to take. I mean, that was great in the beginning when I first got my camera, but because I was just learning. But now when I go out, I kind of like to have either an idea or a location in mind where I know I am always going to get some good photos. Otherwise, it just gets overwhelming because you don't know. There's too much to take in. But what I wanted was reflections. That's why I wanted rain. And when you see the color in that photo, you'll partly see why I wanted reflections. I like to do reflections and rainy day photos. Christmas time is another time I like to do rainy day photos. Or another thing I like is when it gets hot and humid like this, I like to try to catch some mist as it's arising from the forest. Didn't see much of that either. Although I think the mountain laurel is blooming, looks quite lovely. So, aside from our cafe visit, it was pretty uneventful. And then right before we walked out the door, do you know what my cat did? I don't know if you saw him in the short, but that little troublemaker broke my ceramic elephant that I've had for years and years and years. He likes to get up here in this and things like this and pull things out and chew them. See this nail file? That was him. So I have to cover that up every time he comes in this room. Otherwise he will be taking things out. So my elephant had my nail files in it. And this is crazy. Just the night before, I walked past it. It's on a double shelf, and I thought, I better push that back, otherwise he'll see it. So I pushed it back deeper into the shelf. But sure enough, he saw it anyway, because they're bored. They slept all day, and then it was raining, and they, of course, he's just a little guy. Oh, I hope this isn't, oh, maybe I have, oh no, you know what I have? I have another one stuck in there. He's just a little guy, so he has to play a lot. The other one's a little bit older. There we go. And he was just looking for something to play with, but that elephant, I loved it, and it had sentimental value. We had one in our house. My mom had one. It was one of those like 1940 ceramic planter. And every move we ever made, and we moved a lot. Somehow that elephant always ended up making the trip. And then when my mom died and I had to clean out the house, I asked my brother, "Where's the elephant?" He said it broke. I was heartbroken. I said, "You're kidding me. That elephant made it through 30 years, more than 30 years. At that point, I was only 32. But that elephant made it through my entire life, and now you're telling me it's broke." Sure enough, it was broke. But I'm getting out some paper. If you have a die cut, don't forget your die cut buttons as well to pop in there. That will help a little bit. So that's, I don't know if I'm going to glue those buttons on there, but that's the idea. These are shabby, definitely shabby tops, and buttons. And don't forget, if you want your buttons threaded, this one, there is thread in there, and then I poked a hole, and that's where the thread is, and then I just covered the back with another circle. But that's 2 buttons actually, and one is threaded. So don't forget that your thread also adds another little element. Half my buttons in here are already threaded, they're just not trimmed. So, okay, I think you get the drift of that, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with those tags. So I don't know if I'm going to put a button on them. But that is, let me get a better button there. That is this week's idea. Don't forget buttons. Don't forget buttons, and don't forget what you can do with different types of ribbon, and layering your circles and making a design on the top of your tag. You could also do that with squares, of course. And then take your little fancy rounder or your corner rounder, and do that with squares, and pop a little stamp in the center or something like that. But yeah, this week is ribbons. What to do with ribbon and button, and I hope you found it helpful. So next time will be a special tag inspired from jewelry, and I think that will wrap up the tag series. I'll see you next time, everyone. Thanks again. Bye.